Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Experts. My name is Jay Vix with JVI Mobile Marketing, the Journey Builder software and how-to.agency. Of course, Meet the Experts podcast. What is Meet the Experts? And why do I even bother calling it a podcast? That's a good question. I call it the anti-podcast, actually, even though we refer to it as a podcast because it's like any other podcast. It's an interview platform, right? We're sharing stories, we're talking about things with topics. Meet the Experts, however, was never designed to be uploaded and see how many downloads we can get on Apple or Google or Spotify or any of those places. It was designed just before the pandemic as a way to give business owners, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, executives, people who have products and services to sell a place to talk about their products and services on video, because creating video is not the easiest thing in the world to do. I mean, sure, it could be simple. You pull out your camera and you talk into it and boom, you have a video. But sometimes it feels awkward. And business owners told me for a long time that they know video is important, they just didn't know how to do it. So Meet the Experts was born with the goal of giving these people a chance to get some video content. As a matter of fact, we like to say, get a whole year's worth of video content in under 30 minutes. And that's what we set out to do. Our show and our entire Meet the Experts program is powered by and sponsored by Journey Builder, which is an all-in-one marketing suite of tools, with the heart of it being a customer relationship management tool, but things like email and text and websites and landing pages and funnels and forms and surveys and all the good things you might need to throw in your digital marketing arsenal of tools can all be under one roof with Journey Builder. With that being said, let's get to today's episode, and I'm doing the best I can. Anton Kocinovich is our guest today, and Anton is a business consultant and investor, and he is the CEO at jumpingdots.com. We're going to learn all about that today. Anton, how are you, and how did I do on the name?
Excellent, Jay. Thanks for having me.
Good. All right. No, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And I told you this would be fun, and it's going to go quicker than you could imagine. So let's dive into it right now. And I love you got some artwork behind you that looks amazing, and I can't wait to learn more about that. But before we get into all of the cool stuff you're doing, just tell us a little bit more about Anton.
Yeah, sure. So I'm probably an example story of an immigrant coming to this country and being able to achieve a lot of different cool things throughout my life. And overall, I have 18 years of management and leadership in various different positions, from mid-sized to senior level leadership and so forth, and as well as running multiple of my own companies. So it's been a very interesting journey, to say the least. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of artwork behind me. Well, because I come from a lineage of artists. My mom was an artist, my dad was an artist, my grandpa was an artist, and who knows, how many before that I am aware of. So definitely a lot, art flows through my blood, but also entrepreneurship and all those cool things.
That's awesome. So you immigrated to the U.S. Where did you immigrate from?
I was born and raised in Belarus. Do you know about?
Well, my paternal side, my dad, my whole family on that side was Latvian,
Okay.
so Eastern European, and the accent is not too far off from what I would hear from many Latvians. So it's a little bit different, but it reminds me of family when you speak. So I like it.
Very cool.
But
Very
now,
cool.
are you in Texas? Is that where you're at now?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought so. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about some of the products, services that you have and who they help.
Yes. So today I came on to represent Jumping Dots, which I do have my investment and consulting businesses as well. But I'd like to focus on Jumping Dots today.
Sure.
And essentially, it's the brand we created. Um, it's actually a little bit sad story. As I mentioned, I come from lineage of artists, and my mom passed away a few years ago, and we inherited a lot of artwork from her and her good friend who was an artist as well. And so what we decided is to breathe, a second life into the art. And artists put a lot of soul into their works, a lot of thoughts, and there's a lot of intention behind it. And so what I want to do is spread the joy of art and color, throughout the world. And one of our, essentially the mission of this brand, of this company, is we believe that every day should feel like your best day. And with colors, and bright designs, they elevate your mood. I'm sure you've seen there's some countries, they have really bright colored neighborhoods, right? And that's because it's been proven that color will elevate your mood. And there's the whole study and psychology behind color. But what I've seen is, when people have like their favorite shirt, it just like elevates their mood when they're wearing. And especially, like, for example, this shirt I'm wearing today, we designed it for a cruise we went a couple months ago, and now every time I put it on, it reminds me of the cruise. So it's not even about the clothes, but it's about the meaning behind it, the story behind it. And that's kind of what we focus on, to make sure that our customers, their every day is their best day. And so that's the mission of the company, and that's what we do. We do apparel and we do wall decor.
I love that. I don't often think about that enough, but I've got my, my creature comforts, like I got my things that I like to wear, or the logos or the designs that mean a lot to me. And I find that when I wear my digital marketer certified partner hoodie, it always puts me in like this mood where I feel like I'm an expert in what I do, and I feel like I don't know, it's like breathes confidence into me, and I never really felt like it, but when I put on that sweatshirt, I feel better about like what I do on a day-to-day basis, and you just nailed it with that, and it's something I just don't give enough thought to, but it's important. I sometimes wear the same band T-shirts that I really like because it takes me back to a time that I saw that band, or it's really interesting that you said that about the cruise. That's really really cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of times we don't think about it, but we do. All of us have like our favorite T-shirt, and a lot of times, T-shirt or sweatshirt or jacket, doesn't matter. But a lot of times, the clothes that we wear we associate with some special time, And I actually have a story. We did recently a T-shirt with mushrooms, and I was like, we did it because there was a demand, and we did the research, on what users demand. And I was thinking, why would anybody wear, T-shirt with mushrooms unless there's some kind of fanatics? And I thought about like how I would market it. Why would I buy something like this? T-shirt with mushrooms, very random, right, Jay?
Yep,
And
yep.
so I thought, if that shirt symbolized to me the time in my childhood when I went with my grandma to search and kind of harvest mushrooms in the forest, that would actually bring up those warm memories for me, and I would definitely want to wear that every day.
Right.
And every time I would put on, I would think about that. So we have a lot of cool designs. I have a couple of them here. This more of like for travel and things like that.
Very cool.
There's some of the floral designs and things like that. But one of the things that you can see is they all very bright, and because the brightness, just as you said, it elevates your mood. It makes you feel special. And for some of the people that kind of don't want to be a walking billboard, but they want to express themselves through creativity, that's kind of what we do with the apparel line.
I love that. So now, were all those designs, were they family creations?
Correct. So we use original artwork, kind of like the pieces behind me,
Mm-hmm.
um, to create those designs. Those are all original. My wife essentially does the graphic design part, and will leverage some of the artwork within the designs. So they all original. They cannot be bought anywhere else.
That's awesome. I love that. I love seeing um, passion projects that turn into good businesses. I mean, to me, that's that's the best way to have a business. So, um, and obviously, you're doing something right. You found us, and you're or we I guess we reached out to you too. But either way, we you're doing something right, or we would have probably never connected, right? Um, and you've had to make some people happy. Is there any win or testimonial, probably in your case more of a testimonial, is there anything somebody has said to you since starting the business that just it makes you feel good and stands out in your brain because you've impacted somebody else's life?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times, especially when it comes to color or some kind of like, artistic purchases online, a lot of times people hesitate because they don't know if it's going to look as good in real life as it is in the picture, right? And so we have quite a bit of testimonials. In fact, one person just specifically wrote out that they're so impressed that it looks even better than online. I mean, I know this work behind me, how bright it is. Camera doesn't do justice to it, but when you see it in real person, and for our wall decor line, we try to replicate original color as much as possible, and it's very bright, very very unique. But it just creates this vibrance and ambience, in a room. And what's very important, just like a favorite T-shirt, a lot of times you may have a favorite room in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times you may not even think what logically what makes that room very special for you. But a lot of times art can make that statement, within a room, which creates that coziness and so forth. And so once again, that ties into our mission, and that's what we're all about.
I love that. I got to go put some bright colors in the bathroom. I get a lot of thinking done there, but no, that's awesome. It's interesting your association and what you've been able to kind of design and build around the fact that you've learned so much about color and that you have this lineage. I mean, it seems like you were just at like this perfect intersection and crossroads to really get Jumping Dots going. Now, Jumping Dots is mostly e-commerce, right?
Correct.
Okay, um, so I know you have some other, investor and business experience here, and I know that you kind of you come from the family of artists, but to get to the point where you're running this ecom apparel and other store based off this artwork, this is called Earned It, Learned It, Improved Your Authority. Like, tell us about your educational background that got you to here.
Yeah, I'd love to. A lot of different mentors. Um, I tell people all the time that I actually start learning after I stop learning. After
Mm,
I stop school,
yeah.
that's when I start learning. And I'll tell you, as an entrepreneur, I learned more in 1 month than probably in 5 years of school. And I have an extensive library of marketing and business books. And I always read. I always not just read, but I absorb information, and I try to kind of see how can I implement that in my business. And so it's very important to continuously improve, especially in our day and age when things shift so fast. And with the development of AI, we use AI tools all the time, in different aspects of our business. But it's very important to stay on top of all the technology and all the tools available to be a successful marketer. And that's kind of what we do here.
Very cool. Very cool. You said something there that I often find entrepreneurs saying is that after like the book learning stops, the real learning begins. I operated a franchise years and years and years ago. It was my first real business venture. I mean, I had tried to start up some small web development and web design stuff when I was in my early 20s, but then in my late 20s, my mom and I actually we started a franchise, which we weren't the franchisors. We became a franchisee of a place called Candy Bouquet, where you make these arrangements out of candy. They look like flower arrangements, and people loved them. It's kind of the precursor to edible arrangements, which were a lot more healthy and have stayed around in the market a lot longer. But we went out of business in less than a year, and I feel like that 9 month period that we were in business and I ran out of working capital, I learned more about business, the day-to-day operations, the what not to do, all the mistakes from all these mistakes and all these failures and going into it probably when I wasn't quite ready. I felt like that was my MBA. Like I got a real world school of hard knocks lesson in a lot, things that we did right, things that we did wrong, and just learned so much about business. And you just tied that theme in by like we're all lifelong learners, but we really the learning begins when we're in the middle of it, right, and doing it.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jay, I have a story.
sure.
It's not just what you read, but actually what you implement.
Mm-hmm.
And what's very important, I'll tell you, like a personal example. I spent 3 days coding the most beautiful landing page, and it was back, for one of my consulting kind of projects. But anyways, I spent 3 days coded the most beautiful landing page. I was so proud. I loaded with different type of codes and stuff like that, and I absolutely loved it. And I sent traffic to it and converted horribly. And
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of made me mad. I threw together a very, very simple landing page, like white background, black text type of deal, within 15 minutes, and set up a split test. And this simple landing page outperformed, my beautiful landing page that I spent 3 days coding. And
Mm-hmm.
so, it's just a really good example that what could look good, in your mind or on paper may not actually work in real life. And it's so important to collect customer feedback and essentially analyze the data and user behavior in order to make those sometimes hard personal decisions, but data dictates, kind of opens the door towards the right path. And so it's definitely more of a hands-on approach. And one thing that I want to add to it is I'm heavily involved with hiring coaches.
Mm.
So whenever I need to get somewhere, I'll find a person who already been there, who already at the level where I want to go. I'll hire them to coach and teach me because they've been through it. And so
Yes.
it's very important, in order to prevent myself losing time and money, to actually hire an expert that will guide me and steer me towards my goal and make sure I get there faster.
I'm so glad you said that. That is mentorship is so critically important. People sometimes feel like it's almost like a taboo to say you've got this coach or this mentor. When look at the greatest athletes in the world, they all have coaches. The coaches aren't as good as the athlete, and your coach doesn't have to be as good as you're going to be. Um, but they have a lot to offer you. They can see things through a lens that maybe you can't see yet because you don't have that experience at that point. So I'm so glad you said that. It's a really, really critical thing. Um, all right, I've got a few more questions for you, Anton. I told you it was going to go fast. We've got two more questions. Um, but this one changes gears a little bit because it doesn't have to have anything to do with business necessarily. So professionally or personally, tell us something that you're truly thankful for.
It probably ties into a very previous kind of question is with mentorship and coaches. Me myself, I really enjoy helping people. And I remember when I was essentially managing a sales team, I would sometimes I would hire a person with no sales experience if I saw the potential in them, and I would be able to cultivate and develop them. And it was just so rewarding seeing how my contribution made so much difference in that person's life. And looking back, I was fortunate enough to see some of this come to fruition, and being there just to witness the fruits of my labor, so to say. But I'm thankful for all those mentors and coaches I had throughout my life. And maybe they haven't seen some of the stuff come to fruition to get that reward, but I'm just so thankful for having them because, all that work is essentially exponentially is growing to something great. And so without them, I wouldn't be here. So that's what I truly thankful for.
I love that. I love that answer. Yeah, it does. Look, you've really, the theme of this one has been just like, you want to know how to get to here, find somebody who's gotten there, and then be a sponge, right? Get them to help you and be a sponge. Go and implement. And that, I mean, I'm so glad that you answered those questions kind of back to back, and in such a way that you really described the importance of that. So thank you for that. We've got one more question before we wrap up. You know, you talked about 3 hours on a landing page, and I come from a web design background. Obviously, I've moved more into marketing and sales over the years with running a marketing agency. But a lot of businesses, they put this page on their website, right? The FAQ page, the
Mhm.
almighty. I get asked these questions so often. I better just give it a space on the website just for these questions we get asked all the time. And I've often said it'd be really cool and a really good way for the face of the business to answer one of these or multiple questions um, on video, right? And put that on your website. So one of the things I promised to do, or promised myself I would do in doing these interviews, was make sure that we had one snippet at least that you could edit out of here and get up on a website or get in your marketing. So I call this the FAQ question. Is there one question that you hear over and over and over again in your business? And then go ahead and answer it on video so that it's documented and you have this snippet forever.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to answer that one question. However, with a lot of different product types, from t-shirt to wall decor and things like that, I don't think we have like one single like that. It's more of questions. How long is the shipping time? Does can you do custom sizes? Can you do like wholesale and things like that? So there's a variety of questions. Obviously, we have some trends, but one question that I do want to answer more or less even for your audience watching this podcast is a lot of entrepreneurs come to me and say like, hey, I've been doing a lot of different stuff. I tried, doing this and that and that and that, and somehow I just cannot get the breakthrough. Can you like what can you do? Can you help me get a breakthrough and stuff? And so that's probably the most common question I hear from entrepreneur. But I also know that entrepreneurs are notorious for shiny object syndrome. And so, yeah, I'm sure you can relate, Jay. But so one thing that they'll ask him, what have you done? And they always have a list, and one thing is very important. You just have to focus on one thing.
Mm,
And so that's the secret to success is focus on one thing, because wherever your focus goes, that's where your energy flows. And it's kind of like with us, we're focusing to make this brand successful by spreading the joy through art and through all those bright colors, essentially the art that speaks to your soul. So that's kind of what our single focus is here. And for our customers who are thinking about, do I want to purchase wall decor or t-shirt or whatever, I would say give it a try. um, and you can't go wrong because we highly focus on exceeding the expectations.
I love that. I love that. Anton, this has been a lot of fun. You said so many things that I just thought were really good, really powerful, and a lot of takeaways. I had a lot of aha moments and a lot of light bulb moments. So I really want to thank you again for being a guest, and good luck with jumpingdots.com. I encourage anybody go and visit jumpingdots.com, check out the artwork, maybe pick something up from Anton, and yeah, thanks again for coming on and being a guest today.
All right, thanks, Jay.
Appreciate it. All right. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Go to jumpingdots.com. Check out the stuff that Anton is putting out there into the world. He and his wife, and yeah, it's the whole mentorship topic and theme that keeps continues to come up in these coaching. Get a coach, get a mentor, find people that have been to the mountaintop, or so to speak, right, and then connect with them and try to sponge off them. And I've been spending a lot of time over that. And then something else he said about the shiny object syndrome, and just focus on that one thing and go after that one thing. A lot of people have said one funnel, one product, one advertising method, one medium, like just go after that singular focus, I think is killer. So great stuff from Anton. If you would like to be a future guest on Meet the Experts, I told you to stick around till the end of the episode. I'd tell you how, and there it is, the bottom of the screen. www.meettheexpertspodcast.com. That's Meet the Experts with an S at the end. Meettheexpertspodcast.com. And go ahead and read all about what we're doing here, how you can be a guest. It doesn't cost anything to be a guest. If you do need some help with video editing or post-production on the back end, we do have packages available for that. But you might already have a video team or somebody that can help you with the video editing. We are more than happy to step in and be those people if you don't have one. So if you want to do that, just head over to meettheexpertspodcast.com. All right, we've got a few more episodes before the big one, which is number 100, which will be the first live Meet the Experts that I'll be doing in probably 40 episodes. And that'll be coming up hopefully as the year-end episode, the end of December sometime, and looking forward to it. But that's all we have for today's episode. I've got 4 more recordings this week. So we've got a lot of episodes coming out through November. We're going to be slam busy. I just ask that in the meantime, keep tuning in, take care of yourself, and be good to one another. Talk to you soon.